Airlines has announced major changes in how they handle bumped passengers. Delta now allowing flyers to be compensated almost $10,000 in some cases if they are asked to give up their seats. Only applies in certain situations. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Are you still trying to spray away your embarrassing bathroom odors? Now you can vent them away through your toilet as they occur with the MG Toilet Odor Venting System by Manderley Gate. There are no filters, sprays, or batteries to ever buy or replace. Let MG equip your toilet and never worry about embarrassing bathroom odors again. Go to mgequip.com or call 1-800-542-9616. Again, mgequipped.com or call 1-800-542-9616.
Manderley
mgequipped.com or call 1-800-542-9616.
What a great gift idea.
Erin here from On the Brink Morning Show, where we talk about all that is engaging in the Inland Empire. News, politics, business, family, things to do, and so much more. Join us weekdays from 6 to 7 a.m. on KCAA 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, and 1050 a.m. or on kcaaradio.com.
I'm Matt Rock with the all-new Matt Rock Show, starting Mondays at 8 p.m. Many people are looking to be healthier, happier, and closer to their life goals this new year. Join my friends and me as we share how you can develop a positive, energetic, and prosperous lifestyle as you pursue your dreams and goals passionately. Tune into the newest and most dynamic talk show on the air, The Matt Rock Show, every Monday at 8 p.m. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
KCAA is your CNBC.
Get your pencil, piece of paper, get a crayon, get a pen, piece of paper, something to write on, something to write with. I want to give you a little bit of information where to contact me because I want some feedback. I got to get so I got a couple of emails, but I'd like to actually get a good feel for what you're all thinking about this show. So you can reach out to me on familymansmvsg.com. You can reach out to me on familymansmvsg@gmail.com. Send me an email. Or you can reach out to me on Twitter at familymansmvsg on Twitter, or the same thing, familymansmvsg on Instagram, and Family Man's Stock Market Volatility Survival Guide on Facebook. I'm sure if you just Google all that, you'll get a hold of me, and that'd be great. Also, last week we had an amazing guest. It was on the phone, Father Tom Cahill, on a foreign mission. He'd worked in Russia before. Now he's working in a country that he can't really disclose the location of, working with very poor, indigent children, getting them food and education. The guy is absolutely amazing, but I forgot to mention his address so that you could send him some funds because, you know, $10 goes about the distance of $100 over here. So his address is Miles Jesu, but it's spelled Miles, next word Jesu, Jesu, P.O. Box 267989, Chicago, Illinois, 60626. And that's in care of Father Thomas Cahill. Hey, did you have, that's all of my comments about, connecting with me on social media, but we'll get to that again at the end of the show. But I wanted to know, did you have an amazing weekend building community? I put you guys on assignment, family men, family women, to build community. Did you do it? Man, I got tackled, I got judo thrown, I got duct taped, and I got dogpiled. And that was just with my family. So I got to give a shout out to my awesome daughter, Aubrey. Went over to her house, and we had a cookout, a barbecue, and I saw all of her new chickens. She has little cremini chickens. I think that's what they're called, but they're completely black. Their skin is black, their feathers are black, their eyes are black, and she sells the eggs for like $25 a piece or something like that. It's just ridiculous. they're eggs that can be hatched. But anyway, I was there with her, and she's got 4 kids, and I was there with my youngest son, Charles, and I was there with my youngest daughter, Harmony, and her 3 children. And so a shout out to Matthew and Brendan and Lily, and a shout out to Lorena and Lolly and Ricky and Nico. Oh, yeah. And then there's Ricardo, the awesome and amazing son-in-law, Ricardo. I don't know how many of you guys can say you've got an awesome and amazing son-in-law if you have a son-in-law, but man, Ricardo is the best. To be honest about it, I didn't always think he was going to be the best, but he was. And then church was phenomenal. I mean, at the end of Lent is always really great because, you know, it can eat chocolate again. No, just kidding. But because, you know, Lent is so solemn and somber. It's an entire month, 40 days dedicated to prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, you know, doing corporal works of mercy, that helping the poor. I mean, it's amazing, amazing time. And that ends with the greatest celebration. I mean, we have Good Friday, and we commemorate, you know, the death of our Savior, and we venerate the cross, and we think of our own obligation to pick up our cross and to carry it forward and to deny ourselves daily. There's no flowers in the church on Good Friday. The tabernacle is empty, and it's very, very solemn. Then we have the risen Lord, Easter. The trumpets are blaring. Hallelujah, Christ is risen. He is risen. The tomb is empty, and our hearts are full. They fill the tabernacle back with the consecrated Eucharist that holds the real presence of Jesus Christ. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit because when Father Tom was on, Father Tom Cahill, he said that he wanted to get closer when he was a child to that presence in that little black box. And I'm like, you know what? People are going to hear that and they go, what the heck are you talking about, little black box? Well, that's a tabernacle, and it's a consecrated box. It can be black, it can be gold, it can be any color, actually, made out of precious material. So some are made out of marble and brass and other things. And that's what holds, after it's blessed, that's what holds the Holy Eucharist. Now, Christians believe the Holy Eucharist is the actual body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. And you're like, what? Why do they believe that? Well, because if you read the Bible, particularly John 6, 53 through 54, Jesus said to us exactly that. Amen, amen, I say to you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you do not have life within you. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him on the last day. So he's saying you got to eat his flesh and drink his blood. And the interesting thing, the verb in Greek for eat, where it's translated as eat into English, is the verb trogo, which actually means to gnaw or to chew. So it gives us a significant, wait a minute, we actually have to maybe eat this. And it's actually, he's saying it's his flesh and blood. What's going on? So what's important also is what happened next after he said that to his followers. They left. They weren't going to have it. They said, who is this guy that says, I mean, basically they're saying, who is this guy that says we got to eat his flesh and blood? It's horrible. We're leaving. And if it was only symbolic, he would have been, no, wait, just kidding. It's no, I didn't mean that. But that's not what he said. He re-emphasized. But here's my question to you is, why would Jesus risk all this in the first place? Why would he say anything about eating his body or blood to an audience of first century Jewish followers? Because there's two things, there's two clues. One is the Passover itself. In the Passover meal, they were required to retrieve a spotted lamb that was a year old. It could be a goat, but it had to be completely unblemished. And they were required to sacrifice it and then cook it and then eat it. And they had to eat it standing up, holding their staff with their sandals on. So here's the thing. If you're like, oh, you know, I'm really allergic to lamb, I can't eat that. You know what happened? The angel of death killed you. Or if you said, oh, no, you know, I'm a vegan, I don't eat lamb. You know what happened? The angel of death killed you. So they knew all about how important it was to eat the sacrificial lamb. You had to consume it if you were going to live. Second, if you look in the Old Testament, it talks of it's like English translations of the Old Testament. For instance, the King James Version talks about this bread called shew bread that they kept in the tabernacle at the temple. But the word shewbread is really a poor translation because what it translates into from Hebrew and from the Septuagint Greek is bread of the presence. So it's the bread of the presence, the bread of life. So those two things tied together make it clear why Jesus was talking about this to his followers. Well, anyway, just wanted to say it's kind of a mystery, but it's an amazing one. It brings us a lot of goodness and peace and gives us the presence of Jesus in our lives each and every day. And, that kind of reminds me, I gave you guys an assignment to take care of your wives and to do something really good for them. Did you do it? I need to hear from the wives. So ladies, I gave you my email address. I gave you my website. Send me a note. Let me know if your guy's manning up and taking care of you. Let me know if he poured you that bubble bath and took you out ballroom dancing, because that would be, I'd be pretty tickled to hear that anybody did that. And I hope you do, because we're talking about building community, and the community you start with is your domestic community, your domestic church. They're at home, you, your wife, and kids. And you love them with all you got. You give them everything you've got. You sacrifice for them every day. You do like St. Paul said, you lay down your life for your wife. It's an amazing thing to do. So,
NBC
we'll be
Talk
back
Radio,
soon.
1050 AM.
Some combinations were just meant to go together. Chips and salsa, refrigerator and freezer, the internet, and those cute little cat videos. At State Farm, there's another combination meant to go together: home and auto. As in combining your home and auto insurance with one agent, which leads to another combination, saving dollars and cents. Your State Farm agent, the DeSalvo Insurance Agency, is here to help life go right. Combine home and auto and see how much you can save. For more information, call the DeSalvo Insurance Agency at 310-553-0241 in Beverly Hills, or find him on the web at BillDeSalvo.com. That's BILLDISALVO.com.
Hi, this is Donald Carpenter. I've written a pretty interesting book. It's called The Family Man's Stock Market Volatility Survival Guide, How to Defend Your Family in Any Economy. To pick up a copy of The Family Man's Stock Market Volatility Survival Guide, go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or the website FamilyManSMVSG.com. We're back and we're live. Man, I got to tell you, this show goes so fast. I get so excited about it, but in spite of my excitement, man, this time just tears. They tell me you're doing a good job if it goes really fast. And man, I hope I can cover everything I want to talk about. So, I've been talking to you a little bit about my good friend, Dr. Tatsuo Hirano, and how he miraculously cured my back with acupuncture. It was absolutely amazing. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it a lot to you. I haven't had back pain in 6 years since that initial treatment. And it was amazing because, as you remember from my story before, they were pumping me full of all kinds of medication. I mean, the last thing they gave me was a giant injection of morphine, and that still didn't do the trick. 2 days later, went to see Dr. Hirano, and man, it was absolutely fantastic. I fell asleep on the treatment. In the treatment facility on the bed, I fell asleep there snoring. I woke myself up snoring twice. I was so comfortable and relaxed. And I haven't had back pain since. It's amazing. 6 whole years. So he says, why suffer and ignore your pain and illness? Stop it before it gets out of control. Acupuncture is like fresh air, revitalizing your body. Dr. Tatsuo Hirano, renowned acupuncturist to the stars and to world-class performing artists, will help you back to optimum health. To explore the healing arts of Oriental medicine, call Dr. Hirano at 818-244-2287. The first 20 callers will receive 10% off their first visit. Now, that's a good deal. Just say Donald Carpenter sent you. Dr. Hirano has 2 locations, one in Glendale and the other in Westlake Village. You can also find him on the web at www.energeticsforhealth.com. The number again, 818-244-2287. Like I said, I haven't had back pain for 6 years. It's been absolutely fantastic. So I got a question to ask Dr. Hirano. Hey, Dr. Hirano, I understand you've got quite a celebrity clientele. Is that true?
Hello, everybody, and I'm so glad to hear that you're still fine. Yes, I've been in this work for quite a while, and one of the strengths that I have is treating performance artists. So, it's not that I advertise anywhere specific, but it's all word of mouth that people find me through their friends and family members and such. So, yes.
That's fantastic. I mean, honestly, I'm really glad I found you. And yes, I am glad I'm well as well. So you said you've been at it a long time. Exactly how long have you been in Oriental medicine? Well, let me just back up one more question. Explain to our audience, because probably a lot of people don't know what it is, exactly what Oriental medicine is. I'm sure it's a broad subject, but maybe you can condense it for us.
Well, Oriental medicine, or Chinese traditional medicine, is thousands of years old, and it utilizes many different things. It could be acupuncture, using filament needles, or using herbs, we call it herbal pharmacopoeia, or through an arranging the body to achieve structural symmetry, or lifestyle counseling, nutrition counseling on how to eat and such. But what is consistent through all of that is to try to achieve symmetry.
I see. So now you say there were a certain kind of filament needle? That sounds painful. Does that hurt?
No, these needles, if you can imagine what 7/1000th of an inch in diameter is, it's pretty much like an average thickness of a hair.
Okay.
And there is no lumen, meaning that there is no a channel inside where fluid goes through. There's nothing inserted. It only activates your own energy that you have within you. And through that, restoration is achieved.
Oh, interesting. So talk to me a little bit about the energy that's released. I mean, that sounds interesting but unknown to me. How do you release energy with needles?
Yes. And it is foreign, they call it chi. In Japan, they call it ki. In India, they call it prana. In Hawaii, they say mana. But there's many words for it. These ancient words are confusing to our people today. Mm-hmm. I think what comes closest is what our theoretical physicists talk about. And this energy they call chi. Our physicists say that there's only two things in the universe, that's energy and matter.
Right.
And that even within matter or mass, what comprises or what makes up matter are atoms, and what circulates inside the electrons comes from light. So basically, everything you see and know as substance and matter are made from energy.
Right, that makes sense.
And the different forms of energy are light, strong and weak force, and gravity. And every one of those four forces, every one of those wants to have symmetry. Now, the ancient Chinese used to call that the yin and yang.
Yeah.
And our scientists used to laugh at this. Oh, this is just folklore, wise tale.
Sure.
But now, our most advanced theoretical physicists are sounding like these ancient sages.
That's right.
Because they're saying that this energy exists everywhere, and it is that creates life.
That's right. No, that's pretty amazing. So, no, I was just thinking as you were talking that if you, it might be hard to imagine physical objects being made of energy and light, but if you actually go into an electron microscope and take a look at the structure of an atom or a molecule, it's all space in between. I mean, and so that in between the pieces of light and energy, and depending upon how they're organized, the more granular you get, the more space you have. So there's space and light, and that holds all this physical reality together, which is pretty amazing. And it's amazing that before the electron microscope, thousands of years, that Chinese physicians were able to pick up on that. But let me ask you a personal question. How did you come to choose Oriental medicine as a career?
Well, that's a good question. I was kind of born into it. My father was a martial artist. My mother, in Japan, she had been raised by priests and was very exposed to the herbal remedies for common ailments and such. So, like, say, for instance, if I were to get a bee sting, she'll go to the backyard and make a poultice and place it over my bee sting, and that would actually draw out the toxins.
Wow.
And restore my arm.
Sounds like my grandmother. She had similar homemade remedies that none of them smelled very good either.
Yes, and so one of the words that is very, I'm Japanese. One of the words that's used a lot in our language is called ki. Mm-hmm. Ki means energy.
Right.
So kibun, how you feel, and kimochi, your feeling towards somebody. This word ki, whether it's in martial arts, in karate or judo or jujitsu, or in the traditional weapons, the ki is used as what animates us and this energy and spirit that we have within. So growing up with this, I was very fascinated and grew close to it. And through my own personal martial art training, I became more experienced and knowledgeable about more the functional aspects of this energy rather than a theoretical one.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really, really interesting. So, we've been doing a lot of talking here on the show about building community, starting with your own nuclear family, loving your wife and kids, holding everyone together, with your perseverance, your courage, your willingness just to sacrifice yourself and do everything you can for those that you love and those around you, and extending that into your broader community. And I understand that you've got a family member in the business with you.
Yes, I do. My daughter followed my footsteps. She is now a doctor of Oriental medicine and is now a colleague of mine and been with me for 11 years.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I've heard this, and you can tell me if it's true or not, but I've heard that in Oriental medicine, second-generation practices are often the best, where you have a first-generation practitioner aligned with a second-generation practitioner because and I don't know if I have this correct or not, but because it takes so long to learn the corpus of knowledge and to put that all together.
Yes. It's something that you never stop growing. And one of the things is that what is key to health is not just doing this or doing that, but more simply just love. Mm-hmm. And I feel it is, it's just like your show implies, it's the faith, it's the spiritual aspect of love, of how one regards themselves and how one treats another person, especially your family, can really affect one's health or not.
Yep, I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, that really is true. I know that my daughter came down with some late stage allergies, and she could only be treated by Oriental medicine. I mean, she went to the hospital and they ran a battery test. They wanted to keep her there for a week, and finally, at the end of 3 days, they couldn't determine what was wrong with her, and they came up with a bunch of different diagnoses. But she was really in bad shape. It turned out she did her own research, and it was milk allergy where it all started. And then it progressed, and she continued to treat herself. And then finally, she said, "You know what? The things I've been researching have led me to Oriental medicine." Well, what's your take on a situation like that?
Mm-hmm. Yes. In my clinic, I look at every problem as a math formula. If 1 + 2 + 3 equals your problem, we don't address the problem. We have to address the 1 and the 3 and 2 and the 3. And the 1 and the 2 and the 3 is the body, second, the mind, and the third, the spiritual aspect. And if, like say, for instance, if everything is energy, then our mind is not excluded from this. How we think, how we feel, how we are connected to life or to God or to anything else can affect one's health, whether internally or externally.
Yeah.
So we look at that. The 1 and the 2 and the 3 is the body, the mind, and the spiritual aspect.
Yeah.
And somewhere there, if it goes wrong, it would equate to a problem inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Those,
like say,
go ahead.
now, like say you feel 100%, your body feels fine, but
Hey, Doctor.
50%.
Doctor, I want you to hold on to that thought. We're coming to the end of the segment. Can you stay over and just explain what you're about to explain?
Oh, sure.
That'd be great. No, that'd be awesome. We got about 10 seconds left in this segment, but I just want everybody to know I've got Dr. Tatsuo Hirano, Oriental Doctor of Oriental Medicine, and he
We're just meant to
is
go together.
amazing.
Chips and
We'll be
salsa,
right back.
refrigerator and freezer, the internet, and those cute little cat videos. At State Farm, there's another combination meant to go together, home and auto, as in combining your home and auto insurance with one agent, which leads to another combination, saving dollars and cents. Your State Farm agent, the DeSalvo Insurance Agency, is here to help life go right. Combine home and auto and see how much you can save. For more information, call the DeSalvo Insurance Agency at 310-553-0241 in Beverly Hills, or find him on the web at BillDeSalvo.com. That's BILLDISALVO.com.
Hi, this is Donald Carpenter. You know, I've written a pretty interesting book. It's called The Family Man's Stock Market Volatility Survival Guide, How to Defend Your Family in Any Economy. To pick up a copy of The Family Man's Stock Market Volatility Survival Guide, go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or the website FamilyManSMVSG.com. We are back. We are back, and we have on the line Dr. Tatsuo Hirano, acupuncturist to the stars, Doctor of Oriental Medicine, and you brought me out of a health problem that was pretty severe, and I haven't had it for 6 years. So we're looking forward to talking to him a little bit more. Dr. Hirano, you were in the middle of a description of how we treat the patient. Hello, doctor.
Very kind of like the pillars of health. That's the body, the mind, and the spiritual aspect. And let's say, for instance, that the body is feeling fine, but mentally you're feeling okay, but spiritually you feel at a loss. Would one have good health? No. Or let's say if one is spiritually strong, mentally okay, but physically feels like they just can't move or go on or can't eat. Will that affect everything? Yes. You know, everything has to be taken together because there's only one of us. And although these three things are divided, it only acts as a way to look at or to interview, you know, a way for me to ask questions about their physical life, their mental health, or their spiritual health. And then with that, I would look at how that might have affected their problem.
Gotcha. You know, this is fascinating because I read an article recently and I posted it on my website, FamilyManSMVSG.com, about this. Scientists, neurobiologists have discovered this deep connection between ballroom dancing and brain health. And I was just blown away because I'm really interested in brain health. I need more. And because I took up ballroom dancing. And I took it up before I got married, and then my wife and I continue. But when I found that they were treating Parkinson's patients with ballroom dancing, and that it was a sequence of outlined move, choreographed to music at different tempos and different cadences, it actually benefited the brain. And what do you have I mean, that sounds like right up your alley. How do you think, or what are your comments on that?
Yes. I think that anything that has to do with sensory perception is beneficial to the health, which means that, in the outer cortex, the cortex is considered the higher brain. In the front, exact half portion of the cortex is we call the frontal cortex. It's the thinking or the processing portion. The back portion is called the sensory cortex. And pretty much like a walkie-talkie, if you push the button to talk, there's not much reception. Mm-hmm. But if you take the thumb off, then there's no transmission, but you can receive. So one acts more than the other. And with the human body, it's very similar. When we think, we don't perceive as much. And when we are perceiving, like hearing, listening, smelling, and so on, our thinking portion starts to go down. So why is that significant for somebody like with Parkinson's or any other disease? Is that because everything is energy, and because our mind aspect is a very key portion of this, how we think and has a big play. And I believe this, that there are two parts of us. When we think, the child comes out, meaning that, like a child, I want this, I don't want that. I want to be here, I don't want to be there. I want to do this, I don't want to do that. I believe in this, I won't believe in that. So it doesn't matter what topic or how advanced level of an issue you may be thinking of, the child takes over in the thought process. But when you are aware, when you use your perception, like listening to music or looking at something or feeling or smelling something, the frontal portion, our thinking portion, goes down and you become more present. And in that presence, for 1 second, I believe that the wise one steps out. Mm. When we think, the child steps out. When we're present, the wise one steps out. And I feel that this wise person is divine in a sense. Mm-hmm. That is our link to spirituality. So there is a sense of truth in knowing. I call this the 1 second truth. That in that time, if one can stay there long enough and can continue and having this consecutive moments of truth on and on and on, that the body will get better.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, in my personal experience, staying wise for more than 1 second is quite a challenge. Honestly, I think it's going to take a lifetime of practice and struggle because I'm still working on it. Every once in a while, I get that second, though. So, Dr. Hirano, we've come to about the end of our time. How can our listeners get a hold of you?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, yeah, we've come to about the end of our time, and I just wanted to know how the listeners can get a hold of you.
Your last question, I'm not sure what you just said.
Oh, how can our listeners get a hold of you?
Oh, please call me at 818-244-2287, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions your listeners will have. You can also go to energeticsforhealth.com, and there's a link is there to send me a message. And I believe that in this day and age, that everyone's responsibility, you must be at the hub of all of this. If you're suffering through some type of problem or ailment, you should try to also be in control by understanding more of what determines and affects your health, and I can help you achieve that.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I want all of our listeners to really take this seriously and give him a call. Give Dr. Hirano a call. He's absolutely amazing. Well, Doctor, it's been great having you on, and I hope to see you soon. Not because I'm in pain, but just, I like hanging out with you, and I wish you all the best, and I hope our listeners do take that opportunity to give you a call. You take care now.
Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure being on your show, and good luck to you.
Well, can't wait to have you back. If I invite you back, you'll come, won't you?
Thank you. I'll be happy to come.
All right. You take care now.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Tatsuo Hirano, the guy that's taken me out of back pain for more than 6 years. It's been absolutely amazing. I mean, I can ballroom dance. I couldn't move before his treatment. I love what he was saying about that deep connection between the body and the mind. I mean, those are things that are really, scientists are just starting to discover what some people and some cultures have known for a very long time. We've been talking about that kind of thing. We're talking about deep connection between your spiritual life and your everyday life, how your work for your family has the potential to be sacred. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because, what makes it sacred is if it conforms to natural law. I got a really cute example that I learned over the weekend at my daughter's house. She's got chickens, and she lives in a community where they actually like chickens, even though she's got a rooster that makes quite a bit of racket. But he's got 3 hens, and one was sitting on her eggs because she's going to hatch some eggs right there. But he's got these other 2 that are running around the yard, and they're clucking and pecking, and they're cute chickens, right? But he takes care of them. She's got a couple of little chihuahuas. And the rooster won't let the chihuahuas near the hens. Whenever my daughter puts food down for the chickens, the rooster lets the hens eat first before he eats. I mean, he's manning up. This chicken, this rooster is manning up. I think it's absolutely amazing. But what he's actually doing is he is following the natural law. He's taking care of those that are his own, which we can do. But a lot of that, what becomes noble or becomes joyful or becomes worth struggling for is a decision that we make. But sometimes we lead this with the wrong questions. We say things like, well, you shouldn't do that. That's wrong. Or you're going to burn in fiery hell for all eternity if you don't make a better decision. Or which in fact may be true, but I mean, it's not a good selling point on whether or not we should be living in natural law, whether or not we should, try to think of ourselves as spiritual beings, whether or not we can even make our work sacred, whether or not we're even good people. But why not lead with a greater truth? I think that greater truth is that your life can be amazing. You can become healthy or healthier. You can persevere. You can build a beautiful community. The mantra of the 60s was, if it feels good, do it. And you know what we have now? Almost 50 years later, next year will be the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. What we have now is record heroin abuse, record alcoholism abuse, record STDs, record abortions, record broken communities, record suicides, record poverty, and record indebtedness. We're setting all-time records in these categories. It's in the national statistics. They're easy to look up. We want to deny them because I think we just want to, do whatever we want to do. Like they said, didn't Grandma say that? Didn't they say that in the 60s? Just if it feels good, do it. And like Dr. Hirano's saying, that's your infant side talking. That's the baby that wants to do this or wants to do that. And like I've been saying, you've got to man up. You've got to show some discipline. You've got to show some perseverance. And there's redemption. You can improve your life. Are you going to fail? Of course you're going to fail. Are you going to fall flat on your face? Of course you're going to fall flat on your face. Are you going to suffer? You're going to suffer a little bit. But you know what? If you keep going through your struggle and you keep pushing past that struggle, you're also going to get a break. You're going to get a break, and your life you can make it amazing. And with the help of God, you can actually make your amazing life spectacular. I'm gonna play. I talked about this before. The video that I found of Denzel Washington giving the commencement address to the University of Pennsylvania, and I'm going to play that when we come back from our break. You are going to, I don't know, whenever I listen to it, I get a little bit choked up, that to tell you the truth. I mean, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of a big baby in that regard. So, I mean, I'm going to get back at it with you guys. You got to take my advice with your wives. Got to do the bubble bath. Got to make her dinner. Got to clean the house. You know, it's funny because I've been saying that that's what needs to happen. And or you can build her a deck, because my son-in-law said, well, I just built your daughter a deck. I guess she didn't ask for it. She came home one day, and there was this amazing deck that he made to cover almost a quarter of the backyard. It's a pretty awesome deck. I was on it getting judo thrown and duct tape this weekend. All right, we'll be right back. This is Donald Carpenter with the Family Man's Faith and Finance Show. See you in a bit.
NBC Talk Radio, 1050 AM.
Some combinations were just meant to go together. Chips and salsa, refrigerator and freezer, the internet, and those cute little cat videos. At State Farm, there's another combination meant to go together. Home and auto. As in combining your home and auto insurance with one agent. Which leads to another combination, saving dollars and cents. Your State Farm agent, the DeSalvo Insurance Agency, is here to help life go right. Combine home and auto and see how much you can save. For more information, call the DeSalvo Insurance Agency at 310-553-0241 in Beverly Hills, or find him on the web at BillDeSalvo.com. That's BILLDISALVO.com.
Hi, this is Donald Carpenter. You know, I've written a pretty interesting book. It's called The Family Man's Stock Market Volatility Survival Guide, How to Defend Your Family in Any Economy. To pick up a copy of The Family Man's Stock Market Volatility Survival Guide, go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or the website FamilyManSMVSG.com. We are back. It is Donald Carpenter with the Family Man's Faith and Finance Show, and I'm back, and I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad you guys are here with me. This is fantastic. So, yeah, you know, there was that guy on the little advertisement spot right there talking about getting Donald Carpenter's book. I think you should do that. I think you should go right out there and go to Amazon.com and get the Family Man's Stock Market Volatility Survival Guide, How to Defend Your Family in Any Economy. Man, wasn't that great having Dr. Hirano on? That'd be great. I think he should get my book. He might have my book. He should get it too. I told you we were going to hear this clip from Denzel Washington, so I'm going to play that right now, and this should be fantastic. So hang on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. This is good. Well, where's it? Well, whatever. This is funny. Okay, well, not as good as I thought because I can't get it to make any noise. So I'll just have to do more talking. My goodness, the video's running. I'm looking at it, but it is not making any racket in my mic. So anyway, okay, technical difficulty. Hopefully that will be the very last one we have of those. But well, let me get through stammering here and move on. All right. So let's talk about the stock market. Let's talk about the week ahead. Let's talk about let's talk about our finances a little bit, because this is really important. Last week, we had a bit of a correction. We saw the markets swoon a bit. And I was looking on the news on Friday, and they said the markets are down because of global turmoil. And then this morning, I saw the news and it said markets are up because of an ease in global turmoil. And quite frankly, I don't think this global turmoil had much to do with anything. We are in a raging bull market. Now, let me, before I get started and go all gangbusters and hog wild on this topic, let me just tell you that you need to talk to your own financial advisor, that I can't give you any advice. Don't take any of my advice and go do any stock trading or any investing. Get your own advisor, do your own research, get credible sources. I have thoughts. I want to convey them to you, but I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to buy anything. I'm off the hook because I'm just giving you what I think. I think we're in a raging bull market. How do I know this? Because the financial sector for the last 6 months is up 17.9%. Did you buy the dip? Or did you listen to the news when they said, oh, the sky's falling, the sky's falling? The NASDAQ fell 1.8%. That's a big, giant drop. The S&P 500 fell 2.8%. Another big drop. So basically, we're in a raging bull market, ascending upward, and we're in a 3% or thereabouts trading range. So there you go. I say we're going to continue like this through the end of the year, in my opinion. You should position yourself for that, for a growth accelerating market. This week ahead is going to be another big week of economic indicators. Today, we had the Empire State Manufacturing Survey. It came out with a 2-year high in employment numbers. That was fantastic. We came out with the Housing Market Index report. It was extremely strong, with sales being the strongest here in the West. Tuesday, we have housing starts and industrial production. On Wednesday, we're going to have mortgage applications and the petroleum report. Thursday is a big day. Jobless claims, the Philly Fed, Bloomberg Consumer Comfort, and the leading indicators all are reported on Thursday. Friday, the Purchasing Managers Composite Index and existing home sales. So what do we expect this week? I say we expect more of the raging bull market, in my opinion. And that is pretty much it. The thing that I had said before I started talking about how it was going to be in the markets, so you're going to want to, I think, take a look at consumer discretionary sectors, companies that are in those, companies that are in the financials. I would stay away from commodities. I would stay away from oil. I would stay away from copper. I would stay away from long-term bonds as an investment. If you need the income from long-term bonds, completely different story. I'm just talking about how the markets are moving. So I expect the price of long-term bonds to retract as the price of stocks continue to go up. And I think it's your job to find the companies that can take advantage, that they're doing a good job. They're making money for their clients. They're making money for their customers. They're making money for their shareholders. You want companies that are really low on debt and good on growth in this kind of an environment. Other kinds of environments, you want to just completely switch that. You'll want no growth and you want bonds, but we're not in that environment right now. That's been over for 6 months. So if you have not jumped on that train, I don't think it's too late. But, if you're like that lady, I've been talking about this lady who said she was going to put all of her money in cash because she didn't like the president. I think that lady's wasting her time, and I don't want you to be that lady. All right. So one of the things I talked about before, and one of the things I talk about in my book, is debt. And you can get yourself in a position where you have way too much debt, and you have trouble meeting your obligations, and you have a trouble just getting on in life because you've maxed out your credit cards and you've taken that second mortgage and you've done kind of some silly things based on that little kid inside of you that wants it and wants it now. So what are you going to do about that? I think you can make some progress. I think you can get out of that situation, but you have to want to change your life. And what do I mean by that? Well, people that I counsel, they come to me and they say, well, I'm in a problem. How do I get out of this problem? And I tell them, well, you can get out of it several ways, but what do you want to do with it, with yourself, with your life, once you get out of the problem? And they're, well, we just want to get back to square one. We want to get back to normal. We want to get back to where we were. But where you were is how you got to the problem in the first place. And that's the issue, is that you can't get back to where you were. You shouldn't even want to get back to where you were, because where you were caused you all kinds of problems. You have to embrace a new life. You have to embrace a new way of thinking. And if you've gotten yourself way overextended in debt, you've got to embrace austerity, discipline, and perseverance. Austerity has to become your new moral value. I know that doesn't sound very exciting, because, you know, living high on the hog and going out for dinner every night and driving around in a fancy new car that you really can't afford and buying all kinds of stuff to show off to your friends is fantastic, right? But it got you into trouble. It got you into trouble because you were living that 60s mantra of, if it feels good, do it. And it felt really good to, you know, roll up in the driveway in that brand new Mercedes and have all the neighbors go, ooh, ah, like them little monkeys in a tree. But that's the problem, is that adulthood requires austerity, discipline, and perseverance. You have to see austerity as a noble good, that it's worthy and important. And that will lead you, I believe, to seeing your work as sacred. That will lead you to seeing the battle that you're fighting to get yourself above water again is a battle for ultimate goodness, the care of your family. You can't have your old life back. That's like an addict wanting their addiction back. And that's not what you want. I saw a meme the other day, you know, those little cute little pictures with something clever written on it. It said, I never saw anyone drink themselves smart, successful, or happy. Most end up broke, bitter, and alone. I just about spit my coffee out, because that's the same way it is with debt. That's the same way it is with overextending yourself. It doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make you smart, and it doesn't make you successful. And even if it makes you appear like that for a second, it's just a second. So you've got to get back to adulthood. You've got to get back to not spending too much, to saving a lot more, and to taking care of your family. You have to become the wise steward, the savvy banker. You have to be the penny-pinching son of a gun of your household, so that, and get everybody on board. Get your family together, put them around the table and say, ladies and gentlemen, we need to cut back. We need to start thinking in terms of our family, our family's financial future, of being frugal, and of just taking care of each other. That means gotta, cut back on the luxuries. You gotta cut back on, do stuff that's homemade. Get everybody pitching in, everybody working around the house, everybody doing something for the betterment of the family. We don't think like that in our culture. We think we have this whole rugged individual idea, and so we don't pull our family together. We hide our finances from our children. They don't know what's going on. If you listen to Father Cahill, you remember what he said they did? They had a board of directors at the children's school, and the children knew all of the expenses, how much they sold all of their crops for, and how much was coming in and how much was going out. Absolutely phenomenal. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox right now and talk to you about this amazing movie I saw. I saw the movie The Lion. The Lion was nominated for 8 awards, Academy Awards. It didn't win any, but it was so great. It's about this little boy. He gets lost. He's 5 years old. He's in India. Oh, it just, I'm telling you that he was adopted to a family in Australia, and he wanted to search out where he came from. That struggle of his was so amazing, and it ended so well. I mean, when he did this one thing that I think we should all do, and that was he started to look outside of his typical frame of reference. He started to look outside of what he was already doing to try and find an answer to where did he come from? How could he solve his problem? How could he get back to his family from India? He loved his mom and dad in Australia, and they really cared for him, and they encouraged him to find where he came from. That was amazing. They had a lot of support, and they had built their community, and it was great. But he had to go outside of his typical search, the typical way of thinking, the typical way of doing things. You know, they say that if you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, that you might be nuts. And that's what he was doing for a long time until he decided to change the parameters. And once he changed the parameters, I started crying like a baby. I couldn't believe it. Oh, the tears were just rolling down my eyes, my cheeks. Oh, it was terrible. It felt. Oh, my goodness. I was like, oh, man, I'm glad my wife's asleep because I just look like a little cry baby right now. But I'm telling you, that movie is great, and you need to watch it. And it shows you examples of love that are just phenomenal. And those are the kind of examples we need to see. We need to see them on a daily basis. We need to be those examples of love on a daily basis. And you can do it. You can do it by sacrificing yourself, by giving of yourself, I'm telling you, guys, if you're listening to me, you better start making that bubble bath for your wife. Now, ladies that are listening to me, and the guys are working so they can't hear me say that, all of these shows are on podcast. You can go to my website, familymansmbsg.com, and make them listen to them because they need to hear it. They need to take you dancing, take you to dinner, buy you flowers, build you a deck like my son-in-law did. Make them do it. And you know how you get them to do it, ladies? By being nice, by being sweet, by just loving them so much that they have no other choice. When you sacrifice, they start to see the goodness.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
CNBC, a pretty impressive rally on Wall Street today. The Dow jumped 183 points, the Nasdaq 51, the S&P 20. That snaps a three-day losing streak. Investors are feeling hopeful about earnings season and now